With more on the race, we want to bring in CBS News political correspondent Ed O'Keefe in Charleston, West Virginia. Hi, Ed. Let's talk about the race where you are now. Why are Republicans, including the president himself, so concerned about a potential Blankenship win there?
Well, look, Don Blankenship, one of 5 candidates in this primary. He's a former coal mining executive who served time in federal prison for essentially what happened back in 2010 at his Upper Big Branch mine when 29 miners were killed. Not only that, he's somebody who's gone after the Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell, falsely accusing him of smuggling cocaine into China, from China into the United States, and then suggested that the president was misinformed yesterday by tweeting and suggesting that West Virginians should vote for somebody else. The reason more than anything that they're worried about Blankenship is this is a state that they believe they should be able to easily pick up a Senate seat in. Joe Manchin is the Democratic incumbent. President Trump won here by more than 40 points in 2016. So they see this as a slam dunk unless you have a guy on the ballot who has served federal prison time because of a deadly mine blast affecting an industry that is still quite critical to this state.
Republicans are also looking for a pickup opportunity in Indiana. The race there has been full of personal attacks. What more can you tell us about that?
Sure. So Indiana, like West Virginia, one of those states where President Trump won by big margins, and Republicans believe they can knock off a Democratic incumbent. In this case, it's Joe Donnelly. There is a 3-way Republican Senate primary tonight between 2 congressmen, Luke Messert and Todd Rokita, and a wealthy businessman, Mike Braun. Sound familiar? We got another businessman engaged in a race with longtime politicians. Braun has spent significant amounts of his personal fortune to try to cast Rokita and Messer as essentially twins from Washington and tools of the establishment. He even showed up last week, I think, at a debate where Messer and Rokita were in their suit and tie, and he was basically just in a button-down shirt. A very stark visual contrast there of an outsider running against establishment figures. If he wins, he's got the money to do it. And if he wins, it's yet another rejection of longtime politicians, a growing sign of this continuing not only necessarily among Republicans, but in some cases among Democrats this year.
All right, Ed. Meanwhile, just last night, a robocall featuring President Trump was sent to Ohio voters, urging them to vote for Jim Renacci. Why does the president think Renacci would be a strong candidate come November?
Well, Renacci is a congressman from the Cleveland area, pretty popular there, has the money to do it, and is the preferred candidate of Republican leaders not only in the state, but across the country. The president is picking and choosing carefully where he engages at the prompting of his political operation at the White House and of congressional leaders. In this case, they're hoping that it's Renacci because he's somebody that is popular in the state's most populous area, and they want him to take on Sherrod Brown, again, another Democratic incumbent in a state that Trump won. The president engaging in a state where he thinks he can influence the results because he remains popular with Republicans.
And Ed, before we let you go, there's one more primary happening today in North Carolina. It's a relatively quiet race compared to the 3 others. What's at stake there?
Yeah, there's actually 2 congressional races in and around the Charlotte area to keep an eye on. One of them engages today where you have a Republican incumbent being challenged by a wealthier outsider in the Republican primary, and whoever wins that primary faces a well-funded Democratic opponent. That district, indicative of what we're seeing across the country in a lot of these House races, where for the first time in a long time, Democrats putting up not only a qualified challenger, but somebody who's been able to raise significant money and in many cases outraise the Republican incumbent. That's what's transpiring in that race. Again, the question there is, will the Republican incumbent hold on, or will it be the challenger, and how strong a challenge do they get from the Democrat?
Indeed. Ed O'Keefe, thank you.
Take care.